Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Sethum and welcome back to another video, once again on the Isle of Siptah, and I'm going to show you how to farm these bosses. Now, over here in the section that I just teleported to, as you can see right here, so there are a total of 5 bosses. You want to be farming these guys, however, do bear in mind that they are quite difficult. So I've got with me a tier 4 thrall. This is one of the bosses is really difficult. Now this is a location where I'm at. There are a lot of goodies to get from these bosses, and I will show some of the loot as well. So this video will be divided into 2 sections. One will be the first section where I show you how I do it, how you can do it. Do bear in mind, as I do that, of course, that I have the respawn timer set to almost instant. So as I fight the bosses, the NPCs that I will have already killed will respawn. I've showed you there that I'm just wearing normal gear. This is stuff that you can get fairly easily. I've covered it all in previous videos, and this is what my thrall is. Same thing, normal stuff that you can easily obtain from the Delvin bench. You do want to be prepared, and you do want to bring a tier 4 thrall, especially for one of the bosses that hits like a truck. If you don't bring a tier 4 thrall, you run the risk of losing your thrall. So mainly I'm going to be focusing on using the shield that you see and the axe that I've got equipped, simply because the axe does do a dot, so we want to try and dot up the bosses with whatever we can. Anything and everything does help. I haven't got God mode on, no cheat. I'm going to do this legit, and it will potentially be a bit longer simply because, as you will see, the NPCs, the skeletons, the dogs will respawn as I fight the bosses, so I constantly have to keep an eye out for them. Also, I can't dawdle around for too long, simply because I don't want the bosses respawning. I want to kind of cover each of the bosses, how to kind of deal with them. So I'm letting my thrall do the most of the damage, and of course take most of the damage. My thrall does have food on it, so that does help with some healing. Not a lot, but it does make a bit of a difference. Now alternately, I can get in front of the boss and try and run some interference, try and prevent some damage for the thrall. So that's an option that you can do. That just means that the boss doesn't do the combo. Well, as you can see, I'm always using the shield. Now you can use other methods now. The problem, as I've said, and you will see, the reason I have opted for the shield is simply because I will need to do a lot of blocking because of how quickly things respawn here. So I'm expecting at this point in time, right now-ish, for the NPCs that I just killed to respawn. Also, you don't want the bosses starting up a combo on you. Make sure you have healing wraps or healing potions, anything to heal, because you will take damage. And I'm just going to go from one boss to another. Okay, this guy is going down pretty quick. He's done some damage to my thrall. Once again, this is a tier 4 thrall. I've shown you how to get the thralls in a previous video. Now these are thralls that spawn at the lay shrines where you summon a surge. So here we go, we have these guys. So I'm going to try and keep these guys off my thrall, try and give my thrall some breathing space right there. We do want to try and minimize the amount of damage that the thrall takes, simply because of how complicated this will be due to the spawn rate. This guy should be nearly dead. We want to quickly check this guy out and then make a move. So he did drop a legendary item. It is this thing right here. So I will show off more legendary items. I'm just going to check everything. Now what I tend to do normally is I tend to pick up everything that I loot, simply because it does come in handy. Now as I make my way to the next boss location, I'm going to have to fight these skellies, get rid of them. There we go, that's that sorted. Now, of course, if you do have a good armorer and weaponsmith in your bench, you can get the flawless versions of what I'm wearing. I'm just wearing the normal epic stuff. And these are recipes that do take some time and some resources, but are fairly easily obtainable in the delving bench. I have covered that in a previous video. Now let's get moving. So I'm going to do a big circle on myself. So this is what I'm going to do in the first section of the video. In the next section of the video, I will go around admin killing the bosses, and I'm going to show you the loot that they drop. So I'm going to try normally to split up the groups of NPCs so that my thrall isn't taking too much damage. Oh, that guy kind of surprised me. Make sure we don't take anything, don't leave anything behind. Once I build up a stock, I normally stop gathering stuff, but generally I like to build up a stock. Okay, so we aggroed the boss. This is a potentially dangerous situation. We do have an archer there. He is focused on me for the time being. My thrall's dealing with the NPC, so I'm bringing him over to my thrall and hope that my thrall picks up the boss. There is an archer that is annoying, so I want to deal with that guy. Here he is. Now, one of the things I need to keep an eye out on is my stamina management. So I'm going to have to help this guy out simply because he does do a lot of stagger and knockbacks, and the more my thrall is knocked back or on the ground, the lesser attack or the fewer attacks she will perform on the boss, and obviously that also gives the boss a chance to do more attacks on my thrall. I do want to be careful because he has a two-handed hammer, so the AoE on that thing is pretty ridiculous. I'm always going to go and attack the boss from behind just to kind of stay out of the AoE of that hammer. Whoops. Now, that was my mistake right there, because I did not manage my stamina. The dogs have respawned again, which is a bit annoying. So, again, I'll pick up the dogs. That means the other bad things will respawn, as you see right there. So I'll deal with these guys right here. Make sure that, again, stamina management. Make sure that my thrall's only dealing with the boss. As long as the boss is kept busy. Oh, here we go. Dogs are up. Right, this is a situation where I need to be careful. I want to be behind him, not in front of him. That hammer hurts. And from this point forth, it will get a bit more complicated, a bit more hairier, because, as you can see, things do spawn really quick. Now, obviously, these are my single player settings, because I do want to make guides and show certain things, and that does require a quick respawn timer. But I don't want to do any cuts, so I can show you guys how I deal with this particular boss, even with all of the spawns. Now, as you can see, my thrall spends a good amount of time on the floor, on the ground. So we really want to try and minimize that. Now, you can try and run interference with your shield in front of the boss, and that stops him from doing the combo, meaning that the boss does not knock down your thrall. That is something you can do, and just let the thrall deal with it. Your thrall will take damage for each hit that boss does, but it will not knock down the thrall. Oh, I'm in front of him. This is gonna hurt. Didn't turn quick enough. Oh, dogs are up. There we go. I picked up the dog. Right, we'll try and deal with these wonderful NPCs right here. Try and time it so I can hit both of them at the same time. And try and keep the skelly staggered. That's another secret right there. So once I start with the axe, I try generally and keep them, or try and stagger them and then go with that. So as you can see, my thrall with this boss has taken a lot of damage. Now, if this was a tier 3 thrall, it would have been nearly dead, which is not what we want. So you want a good thrall if you're going to farm them all in the same run. It is worth farming them all in the same run. Otherwise, you can just wait for your thrall to heal, or heal the thrall. Again, things have spawned in, so I need to get rid of these really quickly now. Luckily, my thrall does do good damage. Try and get this guy sorted. We don't want the boss respawning. So I need to be really quick right here. And I think it's time for me to move on. Right, she's not fighting anything else. The next boss that we're going to go to is the worst of the bunch. This is where you most definitely want a tier 4 fighter that is also leveled up. So you'll see why. You'll see how much damage that boss does. I'm trying to get rid of this particular skeleton. My thrall can deal with the rest of them. And I accidentally aggroed the other one. Right, okay, that's an archer right there. We want to get rid of this archer as quick as possible. Because what will happen here is he keeps backing up. And eventually he'll aggro the boss again. That will respawn for me. Right, he's gone too far. That's fine. I'm not chasing him all the way around. My thrall's dealing with that. And right there, I'll pick up this guy. Right, she's cornered that archer. So, on this next portion, this is the worst boss to deal with. So, we're going to try and do some healing on our thrall. Alright, that's not working. Fair enough. Good to know. We're going to swap it with something else. We'll do this. I know this works. So, we'll give our thrall a bit of healing right now before we go on to the next fight. So do take time to heal your thrall, especially and even if you have a tier 4 thrall like I have right here. You want to get that thrall's health up a bit. It will make the difference between you losing your thrall or successfully defeating the boss. Now, once again, keep in mind that as I will be fighting this boss, the NPCs that I've already killed will respawn. So that does kind of slightly complicate the situation. Also, one thing to know about this boss is he does do a attack that is kind of linear in a line, if that makes sense. Once he's done that, you can kind of sneak up behind him and attack him that way. So I'm just kind of keeping an eye on what we have to deal with. Make sure nothing catches me off guard. Don't get staggered or anything. So once he starts a combo, it's in a straight line. You want to be behind him so you can solo this guy as well. You just have to constantly dodge him, which you'll see at some point when I stop making mistakes. And just keep an eye on my thrall's health. The other thing is, if you're going to use a thrall, you don't want to be on the side of this particular boss or in front of him. He does hurt a lot. And you'll be able to see that based off of my thrall's health. Now, one thing you don't want to do is what I just did there and run out of stamina. I have tried this with a tier 3 thrall, and I can tell you that it didn't end too well. The tier 3 thrall nearly died. So that's why I recommend using a tier 4 thrall. You could probably just about pull through. Oh, that's not good. With a tier 3 thrall, if you kind of have access to the flawless version of the armors that you get from the Delving Bench, that might help. Now I'm trying to move around to get my thrall to respawn, but unfortunately it's not working, so that means I have to rethink my strategy. So right there, I'll show you how to dodge him as well while we're doing that. So you have to time it with when he's about to swing, and you can dodge roll to the side, not in front, not in back. Basically, his attack is fairly linear. Okay, so my thrall's respawned. I'm going to try and dodge this guy again. Right there. So once he lifts his hand, that's when you roll to the side. I'm going to bring him right here. I am guessing that my thrall is now kind of stuck to that spot. So, oh, that was kind of lucky. So you saw what I did there. The moment he lifts his sword, that's when I want to roll away. Also, he does basically a two-handed attack from above. You can't really block that one. So I'm going to try and kind of get between him. I'll put my thrall between me and him, so that my thrall aggroes him. There we go, that's what we want. Now unfortunately, well, he's still focused on me. That was a close call. Now unfortunately my thrall will be hit by the boss and the archers down there, so I'm gonna have to try and help out the thrall as quick as possible, because even a tier 4 thrall can get beat by this guy. So just doing a bit of stamina management right there. Making sure I've got plenty of stamina. Don't want to get caught off guard without any stamina here. Now the archers don't do that much damage. Bear in mind though, I am wearing heavy armor. So if you're wearing medium or light armor, you will take more damage. And I'm also wearing a fairly good set of armor as well. It is epic. Now I'm trying to break line of sight with the archers. We've got that skeleton popping in. Right, okay. You need to be careful with this guy. Just wanted to make sure that I don't get hit by the boss. So, see how much health my thrall has lost, and I think she had around 8,000. So that's how hard this guy hits. He's not thrall friendly, let's put it that way. He should be down. There we go. So quickly loot this, and you'll see why I loot the bosses in the second section of the video, where I will go around killing these bosses. I'm gonna do them about 20 times. Kind of give you an idea of what type of legendary weapons and loot that you can get from these guys. I'm kind of hoping that, oh well, that didn't work out as I planned. I was hoping to get my thrall to spawn with me. I've had to come back here again. Unfortunately, it is what it is. So I did end up falling. I had to climb back up and kind of go further away to get the thrall to pop behind me. This boss is not that difficult, and there's two of them. They do share the loot table. The other one is on the other side. I'm only going to do one of them in this manner so that you can see what this boss does, his combat mechanics. You can run interference if you want. So, for example, right now I'm running interference. My thrall is getting hit, but he is not doing combos on my thrall. So you can use this on thralls, on bosses, sorry, that do have the knockback, so the one with the two-handed hammer. That means, of course, that your thrall isn't getting knocked down, which gives your thrall a lot more time to perform attacks, and that also means that the boss won't have a time or a chance to perform his combos on your thrall, which also do a lot more damage. So I'm just going to be behind this guy, and I'm going to start doing some damage to him. Right, out of stamina again. That kind of is awful. I do often get carried away with it and forget to manage my stamina. Now one thing you don't want to do is end up on the side, as you saw there. Now that's because he does hit you with his weapon. He does have a good area of effect around him with the two-handed weapons. And also, of course, the healing potions, healing wraps, healing food, things that heal you in general are useful, simply because like you saw on the map where I had the mark, there are a total of 5 bosses fairly close to each other, and I'm nearly dead. That is such a bad idea. And as you can see, my thrall's nearly dead. Right, he should die fairly soonish. Hopefully we get something nice off of him. I would like to show that. Okay, nothing. So I'm going to pick up all of the loot simply because I want the fragments of power. That's how I'll keep track of how many I killed. Now we are on the second section of the video. I'm going to go around in a circle. I'm going to start from here. And then we're going to go all the way around through all the bosses. We're going to kill them. I would guess about 20 times each to see what they drop. It will not necessarily, of course, show all the loot, but it'll give us a good idea of what you can expect to get, which one drops more legendary items. There is one that does drop legendary items more often, as well as what you can expect to get. So I'm going to show you the round that I do in this section, and then I'll just basically cut to the bosses when they do drop something. So you can expect to get these right here. Now those are some buffs that you can have temporarily by using them. Now this boss does drop something really nice. He drops a torch that has only durability on it, no timer. So you can use that unlimited. It's pretty cool, but it is a very rare drop. Okay, so just kind of showing you the route. Now this is the second boss that I was on about. Basically, this is the exact same copy of the boss that we just killed not long ago. We get this right here. We get Render. This is a legendary item, as you saw there. It is a decent item to get. And then after this, I basically go back to the first boss, kill that all over again, and just do a continuous circle over and over and over again. And I'm going to go do this until I get 100 shots, and that'll tell me that I've killed these bosses 20 times. Once again, we've got a legendary item, strangely familiar axe. So this boss right here does drop a lot of legendary items. He is one that you want to focus on. He has a lot to give. We'll go and deal with this one right now, see if he's spawned back in. Yeah, he has. So I'm just going to do this over and over and over again. And I'll only cut back in with the legendary items that they drop. This is a nice sword, by the way, that he dropped. It is Blade of the Betrayer, and it does have bleed on it as an attribute. So definitely a sword worth getting. Over here we've got a nice mace. Not a mace. It is a truncheon. So this is called Love Tap, and it does stun damage. And it is a legendary truncheon. Definitely worth picking this up. Alright, here we are again. And this time around, we got two legendary items. Asia's Bane, so bonus strength will be on that. And Rebellious, oh dear, Daze, which is a tool by the looks of it. Again, a legendary item that you can get from this boss. So we've got this one again, the Blade of the Destroyer. You saw it before. It has bleed on it. Definitely worth having it. Finally, the first legendary item off of this boss, and this is the Morning Sun. This is a two-handed axe. Okay, so we've got another legendary item. This time is Blind Sight. I'll put this on and I'll show you what this does. It is a pretty cool item. You get night vision. This is so cool that we have that in the game. There are a lot of dark areas, and especially this will come helpful in the vaults, Elder Vaults. That's it. I nearly forgot what those were called. I was going to call them dungeons, but they are very useful. Alright, we got two legendary items from this boss. So twin light, we've got the daggers. Of course, they'll do the customary bleed that we know. Does have fairly decent damage if you ask me on it. So that's that. And then we have this right here. We've got the Glimmer Moon. Now, this is quite interesting right there. I'm going to show you what it does. The daggers, my apologies, basically are just kind of normal looking. So I'll show you these, and then I'll show you the axe, which I personally like. It has its limitations in terms of its special ability, but I still think it's pretty cool. Let me swap this out. Let's equip. And as you can see, it basically acts as a torch. So that means you have a weapon that you can use as a torch as well. Over here we have a nice, wonderful shield. So it's black iron bulwark. And look at that durability. That is its attribute right there. And then we also get that as well. So that is a buff that you can use. There's quite a few buffs that this boss drops, so I just thought I'd point them out. So once again, we've got a render. We've got quite a few renders off this boss right here. That is something quite common that he does drop. So I'll just get some space in my inventory. Another legendary item right here. So we've got the watch blade. Decent durability on it. As you can see, it is a two-handed sword as well. Okie dokie. Now we've got a, I think it's the first or second legendary item from this boss. He does drop them very rarely. We've got Evening Star. This is a mace, as you can see. Okay, so we've got the second legendary shield from this boss. This is Soul Spell, and it is again cold insulated. This boss does drop 2 cold insulated shields. Definitely worth farming him. And finally, we got that torch that I was on about earlier on. We will equip it. I'll show you what this is all about, why it's a good torch. It is actually the most powerful torch in the game at this point in time, for a specific reason. I'll show you. Whoops, I accidentally dropped it. That's fine. I'll have to pick it up. Now, bear in mind that I killed this boss about 10 times just for this to drop. So that's how rare this does drop. It is difficult to get. So I'll put this guy in my hotbar right there. We'll take it out. Notice that it does have durability, but no timer. So that means you can use this indefinitely, and you only need to repair it if you do use it as a weapon, which you probably won't. And there is another shield right here. This guy, okay, so this is the second shield that I've seen him drop. Again, cold insulated, and it is a legendary item. Okay, so that kind of brings it to a conclusion. We have killed all of the bosses 20 times each, and so this kind of gives us an idea of what we can expect to get. So there's 100 fragments of power right there. So there's 5 bosses. Basically, if you do the maths, it tells us that we've killed them 20 times each. So we're going to have a quick look at what we got. I did show all of the unique things that we can get. Of course, you can get the legendary repair kits for your weapons and armor. Definitely worth picking those up. They are quite valuable and important to have. These are the weapons. These are some of the resources. You get some of those books that you can use to get some temporary boosts to stats. But yeah, this is what you can expect to get from this area if you do decide to farm it, and I do recommend farming it. Now, Of all the bosses, this guy is the most difficult to do. You can probably just about make it through with a tier 3 thrall if you put the best armor from the Delvin bench on that thrall, and if that armor is flawless. But that is going to be mighty close. Bear in mind, you have to fight your way here. So yes, this guy is a thrall killer. He does hit pretty hard, and you can probably solo him without the use of a thrall, although I don't personally recommend it. You can dodge him, but you will get hit from time to time, and you will need to heal. You will not have the space and time to do so, and if he resets whilst you heal, so say if you jump into the water, then the boss will reset and then basically goes back to full health. So the best thing to do here is actually have a good thrall with good armor and good weapons. Let the thrall do the tanking. Of course, the thrall will need to have a lot of HP as well, so that's why I recommend a tier 4 thrall, and obviously help the thrall out so that he doesn't kill the thrall, because he does get mighty close to doing that. That is pretty much it for this video, folks. I do hope that you have enjoyed it and found it useful and informative. If you have, please don't forget to support me on the channel by hitting that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already for more similar content from myself. And if you have just subscribed, why not check out some of my other videos and guides here on the channel. Who knows, you might just enjoy them. And don't forget to hit that bell icon so that you get notified when I upload new videos and content to the channel. Also, for those interested, you can always find me on the Sethtopia Discord. Links to this, of course, you can find down below in the video description. And until next time, stay safe, folks.